You ever found yourself staring at your phone with your thumb hovering over multiple options thinking, God, which one should I choose? Maybe it was something significant like a big job offer, or maybe, let's be honest, it was just deciding between pizza toppings. I was recently at a restaurant when someone jokingly prayed, Lord, guide my heart toward the pepperoni if that's your will for me. Now we laughed, but it got me thinking about how often we invoke God's will for decisions, both in the monumental and the mundane. When does God actually speak to us, and how can we tell the difference between His voice and just our own thoughts? In John 10:27, Jesus says, quote, my sheep hear my voice and I know them and they follow me, end quote. This promise is both beautiful and sometimes frustrating because if I'm honest, most of the time, I don't hear a booming voice from heaven saying things like, take the job or choose the pepperoni. So how do we discern God's guidance from our own desires or our external influences? Well, first, God's voice always aligns with Scripture. The same God who inspired the Bible won't contradict it in your heart. If your hearing pushes you towards dishonesty, revenge, or anything that clearly contradicts biblical teaching, that's not God speaking. 1 John 4 verse 1 tells us, quote, test the spirits to see whether they are from God, end quote. This testing isn't just for dramatic spiritual encounters. It applies to the everyday nudges that we feel as well. And second, God often speaks through a pattern of confirmation, not just isolated thoughts. Look for consistent themes that are coming up through prayer, scripture, wise counsel, and plain old circumstances. And third, God's guidance typically produces peace, not anxiety. Even when leading us into challenging situations, there's an underlying sense of rightness. As Colossians 3:15 suggests, we can let the peace of Christ rule or arbitrate in our hearts. And fourth, the more you practice listening, the more familiar His voice becomes. Like any relationship, recognizing God's voice gets easier with time. But here's the reality check. God is far more concerned with who we're becoming than what we're choosing in many situations. The pepperoni versus the mushroom debate, probably not divine directive. Yet the character that you display while making decisions, the way that you love people, your willingness to forgive, these matter deeply to God. Sometimes the question isn't, what is God's will, but how can I bring God's character into this exact situation, regardless of what I choose? Maybe discernment isn't just about making perfect decisions. Perhaps it's about walking so closely with God that His heart becomes your heart, whether you're navigating major life changes or just ordering pizza. Today, I invite you to listen differently, not just for answers, but for presence, not for direction, but for relationship. What decisions are you facing today, and how might you listen for God's voice in it? Not just for the answer, but for the deeper invitation to know Him better. Hey there, my friend. My name's Adam with Faith Labs. We do daily devotionals for busy Christians. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our daily devotionals. And if you would be so kind, please do like, comment, and share this video as well. I really appreciate you being here. As always, my friend, onward, and God bless you.